Hi everyone, I'm Anna. Welcome to Virgo. Virgo, we're tuning into your general love observation for February. As always, take what resonates, softly release the rest. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay connected with future messages. Now, let's see what love is bringing toward you. There's a conversation hanging in the air between you and someone, thick with everything that hasn't been said. And this person, they're losing sleep over it. Rehearsing words they're terrified to speak out loud. Um, you can probably feel it already, that shift in their energy, the way they text differently, the way they look at you when they think you're not paying attention, the way conversations feel like they're dancing around something neither of you wants to name first. Someone is carrying a confession that's becoming too heavy to hold. And February has this specific quality that makes secrets unbearable. Let me describe what's happening. You may have noticed this person being more careful with their words lately, like they're editing themselves in real time, starting to say something and then stopping. Texts that get typed and deleted before sending. Some people experience this as confusing. Mixed signals. One moment they seem close, present, available. The next they're pulling back, creating distance, being vague. It might feel like you're constantly trying to read between the lines, analyzing every interaction, wondering if what you're sensing is real or if you're just seeing what you want to see. But what you're sensing is real is less than #0. 5# is greater than, and it's this. They want to be with you. They've wanted it for longer than they've been willing to admit. And the wanting has reached a point where staying silent hurts more than the fear of speaking. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider, is there someone whose behavior around you has felt loaded lately, heavier than friendship should feel? Someone who shows up for you in ways that feel beyond casual, who remembers details that acquaintances forget, who makes time even when they're busy, who treats your problems like they're theirs to help solve. You may have written this off as them just being nice, just being a good friend, just being the kind of person who cares about people. It's possible it's more than that. The attentiveness isn't random. The consistency isn't coincidence. The way they light up when you enter a room isn't something they do for everyone. Some people show love through action long before they can speak it. They build a case through behavior, through showing up, through being present, hoping you'll notice, hoping you'll feel it without them having to risk the vulnerability of saying it. You may have noticed. Or you've been too afraid to trust what you're noticing, too scared of being wrong, too worried about ruining something good by wanting it to be something more. And meanwhile, they're battling the same fear, terrified that saying something will change everything, that the friendship will become awkward, that you'll pull away, that they'll lose access to you entirely. It can feel like you're both trapped in the same silence, both wanting, both waiting, both hoping the other person will be brave first. This reflection invites you to consider, if you had to guess, do you think this person has feelings they're not expressing? There's something specific about what I want to be with you, but means. It's possible the but isn't rejection, it's complication, fear, obstacle, something real that makes this harder than just wanting each other and choosing each other. The but might be timing. They're not in a place to do this right. They're healing from something, building something, dealing with something that requires their full focus. And starting something with you while they're in that state feels unfair to both of you. Or the but might be fear, fear of ruining the friendship, fear of commitment, fear of being seen that completely, fear that what they feel is so intense it could consume them if they let it. Some people carry buts that have nothing to do with you, everything to do with their own wounds, their own patterns, their own stories about what love means and what it costs. You may hear the but and immediately brace for rejection. Assume it means I want you but not enough, or I want you but only under conditions you can't meet. But it might not be that. It might be I want you but I'm terrified, or I want you but the timing is complicated, or I want you but I don't want to mess this up. Those are different. Those are workable. Those are human fears instead of fundamental incompatibility. It can feel frustrating either way. Like if they want you, they should just say it. If they have feelings, they should act on them. If there's something here, why complicate it with but? Because people are complicated. Feelings don't exist in a vacuum. And sometimes wanting someone and being ready to be with them are two different timelines. This reflection invites you to consider if someone said, I want to be with you, but what would you hope comes after that? Let me talk about what's making them nervous. It's possible they're nervous because this isn't casual for them. If it was casual, if they could take it or leave it, they wouldn't be this worked up about saying it. The nervousness tells you the stakes are real, that you matter, that this conversation could change their life depending on how it lands. They're nervous because once they say it, they can't unsay it. Once it's out there, the relationship changes. Either it moves forward, or it becomes awkward, or it ends. But it can't stay the same. Some people prefer the safety of unexpressed feelings. At least in the maybe, there's potential. At least in the silence, there's no rejection. At least in the ambiguity, hope is still alive. You may understand that completely. You might be feeling the same nervousness about your own feelings, about whether saying something would bring you closer or push them away. And if that's the case, you're both sitting in this stalemate, both nervous, both wanting, both waiting for the other person to be brave enough to break the silence. Someone has to go first, and it might be them, soon, in February, when the pressure of unexpressed feelings becomes greater than the fear of expressing them. It can feel like watching a pot about to boil over, like something's building and it has to release somehow, like the tension between you is reaching a breaking point that will force clarity one way or another. This reflection invites you to consider, are you ready to hear what they might be about to say? There's something about February that amplifies this energy. It's possible the cultural emphasis on romance makes feelings harder to ignore. Even people who say they don't care about Valentine's Day feel the pressure of it. The emphasis on declaring love, on grand gestures, on not being alone. Some people use that energy as an excuse to finally be honest. The month gives them a framework, a reason, a moment that makes vulnerability feel slightly less terrifying. You may see this person reach out around mid-month or deliberately avoid mid-month to make it clear this isn't about some holiday. This is about them, about you, about what's been building regardless of what the calendar says. Either way, February has this quality of resolution, of people getting tired of their own hesitation, of feelings that have been simmering finally coming to a boil. Some people make confessions in February that they've been carrying for months, not because the month is magic, but because the collective energy around love and connection makes it slightly easier to be brave. You may feel this energy yourself, this restlessness, this sense that something needs to be said, that you can't keep dancing around this, that clarity is necessary even if it's scary. And When they do finally speak, when they finally get the words out, the conversation might be messy. They might stumble, contradict themselves, start and stop, apologize for bringing it up while simultaneously unable to keep it in anymore. It can feel clumsy, not like the movies where people deliver perfect speeches. Real vulnerability is awkward, it's hesitant. It's watching someone try to find words for feelings that are bigger than language. This reflection invites you to consider, can you hold space for someone being nervous in front of you? Let me talk about what you might be feeling right now. It's possible you're feeling hopeful, like finally, like this is what you've been sensing. Like the confirmation that your instincts were right feels validating. Or you're feeling anxious, like you're not sure you're ready for this conversation, like you don't know what you want to say back. Like the fantasy of them having feelings was easier than the reality of having to respond to those feelings. Maybe you're feeling both, hope and anxiety tangled together. Excited that they might finally be honest, scared of what happens after they are. Some people spend so long wondering if someone likes them that when the person finally admits it, they freeze because now it's real. Now there's a decision to make. Now the relationship is at a crossroads and they have to choose a direction. You may not know how you'll respond until you're in the actual moment, until you hear their voice or see their face or read their words and feel what you feel in real time. And that's okay. You don't have to have a prepared answer. You're allowed to need time to say, I need to think about this. To not match their vulnerability with immediate reciprocation just because they were brave enough to go first. It can feel pressuring when someone confesses feelings. Like now that they've been honest, you owe them honesty back. Like you have to know immediately what you want. But you don't. Their timeline for confession doesn't have to be your timeline for response. This reflection invites you to consider, if this person confessed tomorrow, would you know what to say? Or would you need time? There's something about the but that needs more attention. It's possible the but is about circumstances. They're with someone else, or you are, or you work together, or you're in the same friend group, or you live in different cities, or the practical obstacles feel genuinely insurmountable. And those obstacles are real. They're not just excuses, they're actual complications that would make being together difficult. But difficult isn't impossible. And if the connection is strong enough, people find ways to navigate difficulty. People make sacrifices, make changes, take risks. Some people use obstacles as a shield, a way to avoid the vulnerability of trying. If the circumstances are impossible, they don't have to face potential rejection. They can blame the situation instead of risking themselves. You may need to discern the difference between someone who wants you but genuinely can't figure out how to make it work, and someone who wants you in theory but isn't willing to do the work to make it reality. Because I want to be with you, but the timing is complicated, can be honest. Or it can be a gentle way of saying, I'm not willing to prioritize this. And which one it is matters, because one deserves patience, the other deserves boundaries. It can feel harsh to require someone to back up their words with action, like you're not being understanding enough, like you're not giving them grace for their very real obstacles. But wanting someone isn't enough. Wanting has to translate into effort, into problem solving, into being willing to work through complications instead of using them as a permanent excuse. This reflection invites you to consider, if they say they want you, but complications make it hard, How long are you willing to wait for them to figure it out? Let me talk about what you need from this conversation if it happens. It's possible you need honesty, complete honesty, not the polished version, not the self-protective version, the real truth about what they feel, what they want, what scares them. You need them to be specific, to say what they mean, to not hide behind vague language that lets them retreat if you don't respond the way they hope. I have feelings for you is different than I think you're great. I want to be with you is different than I value our connection. You need the actual words, the clear ones. Some people try to confess without fully confessing. They hint, they imply, they create plausible deniability, so if you don't reciprocate, they can pretend they didn't mean it that way. You may need to push for clarity if they start being vague. What are you actually saying? What do you want from this conversation? Because you deserve to know what you're responding to, and you need them to respect your response, whether it's yes or no, or maybe, or I need time. You need them to hear you without pressure, without manipulation, without making you feel guilty for whatever you feel. It can feel demanding to require someone to be clear and respectful. Like you should just be grateful they're being vulnerable at all. But you're allowed to have standards for how someone approaches you. Vulnerability doesn't exempt someone from treating you with respect. This reflection invites you to consider, what would this conversation need to include for you to trust it? There's something about your own power here. It's possible you've been giving this person all the power. Their feelings determine your emotional state. Their confession or lack of confession controls your peace. Their readiness dictates your availability. But you have power too. You get to decide if their honesty is enough, if their timing works for you, if what they're offering matches what you need. You're not a passive recipient of someone's confession. You're an active participant. And that means you evaluate, you question, you accept or decline based on what serves you. Some people forget this. They've been hoping for so long that when the person finally expresses interest, they just say yes without checking if they even still want it. You may need to ask yourself hard questions. Do I still feel the same way about this person, or have I idealized them while wondering? Do I want them, or do I just want to be wanted? Because being wanted feels good, but it's not the same as actually wanting the person. And saying yes just because someone finally showed interest isn't fair to either of you. It can feel like you owe them reciprocation. Like if they were brave enough to confess, you should reward that bravery with validation. But you don't owe anyone your feelings. You don't have to match their vulnerability with fake enthusiasm. You can appreciate their honesty and still be unsure, still need time, still ultimately say no. This reflection invites you to consider, are you responding to who this person actually is or who you've been hoping they'd be? You remain in complete control of how you navigate this. You can be open, you can be cautious, you can be excited, you can be uncertain. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought up specific feelings about a specific person, maybe anticipation, maybe dread, maybe hope wrapped in protection. Whatever it is, honor it. Take what resonates, softly release the rest, trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If someone said, I want to be with you, but, what would the but need to be for you to stay interested? Drop it in the comments if you want to share. And this If someone confessed complicated feelings, would you have the patience to work through the complications, or would the complications themselves be a deal breaker? I'm nervous to come tell you the truth. I want to be with you, but, and whatever comes after that but is going to determine everything. Maybe the but is something you can navigate together. Maybe it's a fear you can ease. Maybe it's a complication with solutions if you're both willing to work. Or maybe the but reveals that wanting isn't enough, that the obstacles are real and neither of you is willing to do what it would take to overcome them. Both are possible. And you won't know which until they finally speak. Not eventually, soon, in February. Trust yourself with this. Trust that you can hear whatever they say. Trust that you can take time before responding. Trust that their confession doesn't obligate you to anything except honesty. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, someone being nervous to tell you the truth means the truth matters, means you matter, and that's worth something. Even if the but isn't what you hope, stay open, stay grounded, stay true to what you need.